Hey guys, it's Shayna here. I have been taking my time getting ready to make this video because it is very personal and but I think that it's really worth me making it because I think that it could help some of you out there who are pre-op, post-op, or just struggling with addiction. So I'll start out by saying I did have weight loss surgery. I had vertical sleeve gastrectomy on May 21st, 2014. I struggled with weight for most of my life. My mom told me she had to put me on my first diet when I was 3. So obviously always liked food. Food was my friend when nobody else was. Sorry, I have little notes in front of me because I don't want to miss anything. Food was my friend when nobody else was. It never rejected me and was always there for me. It was my comfort. It was something to do when I was lonely or bored. Lunch and snack times at school were my favorite times of the day because I felt better while I was eating. I struggled socially in school when I was young. I had trouble making friends. I felt very rejected and alone a lot of the time, and so I always gravitated towards food and lunchtime, snack times. I always enjoyed that because food was my best friend. And like I said, it never rejected me. It was always there for me. It was always available. Now, I will say that my family is very healthy. My parents are not overweight. My sister's not overweight. This is just something that when I went through my emotional issues when I was younger, socially at school, and not feeling accepted by my peers, I just turned to food. And anyway, eating seemed to go perfectly with almost every emotion I've ever felt. I tried countless diets, but nothing worked long term, and I felt terrible about myself. And I'm sure that's something that a lot of people can relate to, especially in the weight loss surgery community. I tried so many different diets, different kind of diet medication. Nothing seemed to work, and every time I failed, it made me feel more and more terrible about myself. And the larger I became, the more rejected I felt in social situations because I always was the fat friend. And that's a terrible feeling. But at 23, I was blessed with a loving husband who saw my heart and looked past my extra weight. With my influence, everything we did revolved around food. On date nights, we went out to dinner, and I ate until I couldn't eat anymore. We would have friends over, and I would always cook something delicious. Food was fun. I would think about what I was going to order at dinner all day if I knew we were going out to eat that night. I really got excited. It was my favorite thing to do. It was an easily available and socially acceptable addiction. Even though at the time, I did not fully realize how emotional my eating was. I did not realize that I had developed an addiction to food. I just thought that I overate. I thought that I just enjoyed eating and that I had slow metabolism. Like, I never ever thought that I had an addiction, that my problem was more than just eating too much. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but I never thought that I was addicted to food. But I knew that my weight was out of control. I knew I needed to do something to get healthy before my husband and I decided to have children. So I decided to pursue weight loss surgery. I felt relieved that I'd finally found the answer to my biggest problem, which was overeating. At my pre-op orientation, one of the things they warned us about was the possibility of transfer addiction. I didn't think that would be an issue for me. I'd never had an addiction problem because I never realized I had an addiction to food. I always thought of addiction to alcohol, drugs, gambling. Those were addictions in my mind, but addiction to food wasn't something I thought about. I never had an addiction problem with any substance. I was so focused on finally losing weight that I did not take their warning seriously when I was told that I shouldn't ever drink alcohol after surgery. I was just like, yeah, okay, you know, I won't drink. I mean, that wasn't a problem because I ate so much, like at parties when we went out, that I wasn't, like, drinking wasn't a big deal. I mean, we did drink socially, but I ate so much that the food was my main priority. And when I was younger, in my teenage years, I would go out and party with my friends and everybody was getting drunk. That was what you did. You played drinking games, and it was kind of like that was the purpose of the whole thing, was to just drink as much as you could and everyone just make a fool out of themselves. But I never had an issue with being addicted to anything other than food. So when they warned us about transfer addiction, I kind of just sat through that part like, yeah, but that would never happen to me. Which I know a lot of people, maybe people who are watching this right now, may think that would never happen to me. So one of the first red flags that I did not notice was that I cried all day the day before my surgery. I was mourning the coming loss of my relationship with food. What was I going to do without my friend? But oh well, I'd finally be skinny, and that's all that I was really worried about. Once I had surgery and I started losing weight and feeling more confident, I wanted to get out more and become more social. I didn't want to be isolated anymore because I felt more confident and ready to go and take on the world. But unlike my friends, I couldn't eat anymore for fun. If we went out to dinner or we had parties or whatever we were doing, I could not eat for fun because I got full so quickly. It was incredibly frustrating to sit and watch everyone enjoy their food. But I did discover that I could drink. I started drinking occasionally a few months post-op. Wow. I got drunk really fast and it felt great. I'd never been able to get that intoxicated that quickly with such a small amount of alcohol. It was crazy. And because I didn't have to drink much to be impaired, I didn't suffer with many hangovers. Alcohol became my new reward after a long day or a long week. When we would go out to eat, I would think about what I was going to drink rather than what I wanted to eat. When we went to parties, I drank while they ate. When we had people over, I no longer focused on making snacks or new recipes. I focused on what alcohol I was going to serve. It was my new friend. I was not drinking daily at that point, and I was still losing weight, so I felt great. But it progressed. My tolerance grew. So I had to drink faster and drink more to get the same effects. I also didn't stay buzzed or drunk very long unless I continued drinking throughout the day or night. Then it became more often. I started drinking more at home. I started drinking alone. It seemed to make everything more fun at the time. Doing laundry was more fun. Watching TV was more fun. Walking my dog was more fun. And so on and so forth. At that point, my husband started getting a little concerned about my drinking, and so we decided that the problem was that I was drinking liquor. I was drinking rum or vodka. So I switched to apple cider for a while, and then thought maybe since that wasn't working because I was just drinking a ton of that, Maybe mixing wine with Sprite, half and half, maybe that would be better because wine is more natural. Problem solved, it would all be okay. I thought that just changing the form of alcohol I was drinking would fix the problem. I had times where I decided I just would only drink on the weekends, but that usually didn't work very well. And then on Saturdays and Sundays, I would start drinking earlier in the day because I knew come Monday I couldn't drink. Over time, my tolerance grew, and it had grown to the point that I was drinking larger and larger amounts. I could no longer find that state of total relaxation that alcohol had given me when I first started drinking after surgery. I was chasing that calm and happy feeling that alcohol had once given me, that food had once given me. But something had changed. It had progressed again, and it never stays the same. With any addiction, it just progresses and it just gets worse. It never stays the same. I started drinking every night and during the day on weekends or holidays. Everything revolved around alcohol. I was constantly thinking about when I could drink, how much I could drink, or who would be around me that might notice how much I was drinking. If I was invited to do something and I knew I couldn't drink, I usually just wouldn't go. I only made plans, social plans on the weekends during the day around lunchtime because I wanted to get home and start drinking. I still couldn't indulge in food like others could, so I had to make sure my friend alcohol would be involved. That led to a lot of isolation. That was the only way to hide how much I was drinking. I started experiencing my hands shaking in the morning. Come to find out, that's called tremors, which is a symptom of alcohol withdrawal. And that concerned me. I was also having really bad hangovers every day, which is also a symptom of alcohol withdrawal. But I couldn't stop. I started becoming very anxious, which is also a symptom of alcohol withdrawal. And I was anxious and depressed when I was drinking, and that progressed to me having suicidal thoughts. I'd gotten to the place where I was feeling sick every day. My hands were shaking in the morning and all during the day until I started drinking again that afternoon. And it was a really hard place to be because I could not imagine my life with alcohol anymore the way it was going, and I couldn't imagine my life without alcohol either. The last couple nights of my drinking, I had a knife under my bed. I was ready for it all to end, and I couldn't imagine my life with alcohol, but I didn't want to go on the way it was. I was miserable. I was miserable. Alcohol was in control of me and my life. It was going to kill me, one way or another. During this time, my weight had gotten down to 143, and I'm 5'8". I did not look good, and I looked as sick as I felt. I didn't eat a whole lot during the day because I felt so nauseous and sick, and once I started drinking at night, I wasn't as hungry, and if I got hungry, I knew that if I ate, it was going to kill my buzz. So I was losing weight. So when I finally told my husband about how I was starting to think about suicide and how hopeless I felt, and how bad things had gotten inside of my mind, he helped me to decide that I needed to stop drinking, and that was an option for me. It wasn't either keep drinking all the time or die. Like, I could stop. I just needed to get help, which I did. And with God's help in a 12-step program, I have found sobriety and recovery, which is so amazing because I really did not think that that was possible for me. The whole point of me making this video is, and sharing my story with transfer addiction, is to say that when they tell us not to drink after weight loss surgery, they're trying to protect us, because it really is dangerous. I didn't realize it, and I don't think many people do, unless they learn it the hard way or they've witnessed someone go through it. I am proof that what they warn us about is real. I do not regret having weight loss surgery. I feel great. I'm healthy. I look good. I mean, I still want to lose a few more pounds, as you guys know from my other videos. You know, I've lost my excess weight, except for a few pounds. And it's all thanks to this tool that was given to me when I had VSG, when I had weight loss surgery. But I would have taken the warning signs about alcohol and transfer addiction much more seriously if I would have known the real danger. And how many people have similar stories to mine after weight loss surgery? I have met quite a few people during the process of sobriety and recovery who, you know, they became addicted to alcohol, and for them, they became addicted to alcohol and or drugs after weight loss surgery because they were addicted to food, didn't realize it. And when that addiction, when that fix of overeating, binge eating is taken away, unless you deal with the reasons why you're addicted to food, you're just going to transfer that addiction to something else. And for most people, it is alcohol or drugs. For some people, it's gambling or shopping. But I really wanted to just make this video to share my story and to make people aware that it really is dangerous. If you're at the place where you want to have weight loss surgery, you need to come to the terms and acceptance that 99% chance you're addicted to food. Because if you're not, it would have probably been a little bit easier to lose weight without having to go to the extreme of surgery to have to physically control your intake of food. For me to have to go to surgery and have a doctor physically control how much I could eat means that mentally I could not control it. And so when I found another way to comfort myself by drinking, I couldn't control that either. It only took a matter of time, and I was completely out of control. I'm very, very grateful that I have a wonderful husband and a wonderful family that supported me through all of this and helped me to get help when I needed it. But I just really hope that my story can help somebody who's maybe pre-op to really listen to what the doctors have to say about transfer addiction. If you're post-op, be very, very careful. If you see yourself starting to get addicted or emotionally dependent on something. And if you are struggling with addiction, whether it's alcohol, drugs, gambling, whether you've had weight loss surgery or not, it doesn't matter. Addiction is addiction. And you can get help. There is a way out. You're not in a place that's completely hopeless, because I found my way out and now I'm living an incredible life. I'm so happy. I'm so blessed. And that's why I want to give this to somebody else. I want to give this freedom and this happiness to somebody else, and hopefully this video can help you. So again, If you're struggling with addiction, if it's food, alcohol, drugs, whatever it is, you can get help. Just reach out and let someone know you're struggling. And feel free, you guys, to comment if you have any questions. Share this video if you feel like it would help someone you know. And I'm just so grateful for this opportunity to be able to share my story.